Welcome back to Twice Half That. I'm Anthony.
And I am an irritated Warriors fan. They're 0-7 on the road.
First time since, I think it said 88-89 when they started 0-9.
That's fucking crazy, man. Whatever, they'll get it. They'll get it together. We just won a championship. It's like, come on. Do I really have room to bitch?
It's like, dude, like, longtime Warriors fans.
Yeah, that's why I'm all like, I ain't complaining. We
went like, outside of that 06-07 season with the We Believe team, when was it 20 some odd years in between playoff experiences. Appearances is what I was trying to say. But it's been like we went through a large time of futility. Everyone was losing their shit the last couple of years prior to this championship team because they weren't performing. It's like, were you here 15 years ago?
Yeah, man.
Were you here before Mark Jackson got here?
Shit.
Outside of, 2 seasons with Nelly, one in the early 90s, one in the 2000s, in 2006. We didn't go to the playoffs. It was 06-07.
Yeah.
And then it was like 91, I think?
Yeah, around 92, 94.
But
they were good.
It was whatever fucking Weber's.
Then they started, that was like the 90...
I think it was 91, 92 season.
6 season, 97, something like that. Because the Warriors were in the finals against the Bulls. You may not know this. Shit, that motherfucker MJ would have beat them niggas in like 20 seconds. It would have been pathetic. Nah, I'm doing too much.
Yeah, you are, but it's okay.
It would have been bad, and it would have been very, very, very disheartening. But, what are you going to do? We had a good run. They're just faltering. They need to find their pace. They need to, gel a lot better together. A lot of the people that helped win that championship, a lot of the key players are gone.
Yeah.
So, you got to start literally from scratch. And if I'm a Lakers fan, I'll tell you I'm a lot more fucking pissed than anybody.
Dude, yeah. No, that's the
Nets?
Yeah.
People are like, the Nets? I'm like, that's what I expected with Ben. Ben Simmons is,
93-94 season. I just had to look up.
See, I told you what I say, 92 to 94.
And I said 91-92, and that was the previous time.
No, yours doesn't count. Only mine. Fucking no.
But in that one, they got swept in the first round.
Oh, yeah. See,
so you had that one, you had 93-94, and then 06-07 when they won in the first round against the Mavs and then lost in the second round to the Jazz, I believe. I
don't even think they went one time in the 80s, or did they? I know they went in I know for a fact they did it in the 70s. But
they, so you had 93-94, and then you had 06-07, and then nothing again until Mark Jackson's first season.
That's a big motherfucking gap.
So essentially you had one time in...
That's a Cleveland-style gap.
So one time in between 93-94 and 2012-2013, you went to the playoffs.
Ooh, that is a very massive gap.
And really, outside of... There was two times, 95-96 and that 07-08 year, they finished just outside of the playoffs. Other than that, they weren't even in the conversation.
It's sad. I remember that. It sucked, especially if you're like, I'm a, just Northern California fucking, basketball fan. You got the Warriors and the Kings, and if you're a Kings fan, you know how crappy, that organization has been.
It's poorly run.
And, I wouldn't doubt in maybe a year, they just get rid of a lot of their good guys just because.
Well, I mean, that's kind of their MO. They do that constantly. They're
like the Royals. Oh, that's a good guy. Let's get rid of him.
Pirates.
Oh, that's a good guy. Let's get rid of him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good guy. Let's get rid of him. And it's like, well, why don't we keep these?
Well, I mean, and really, that's the same cycle the Warriors were in up until this new regime. Once this new regime took over, they kind of, did away with that.
And
they wanted to bring those guys in as opposed to ship them out or just let them walk.
It's going to be nice seeing the Commanders, being sold, because then you're going to have that competitive.
And that's the thing that kills me with this stuff is, and the same thing was
shitty ass name
with their fucking lame ass logo and shit. It's just fuck. You took 2 years to come up with this name. And the best you came up with was the Washington Commanders.
That is garbage.
And I understand.
Wait, hold on. Is that a Madden team?
It might be. It might be.
That's how increative those people are.
And it's ridiculous because I completely get moving off of Redskins.
Yeah, that was a little
more so than any of the other names that are, directed towards Native Americans.
Have you ever,
the Indians, the Chiefs, the Braves, those three, while Indians is just an inaccurate name because they're Native American, they're not Indian, because old time explorers were fucking stupid and didn't actually know where the fuck they were. But Redskins,
that's straight
derogatory term.
Braves, not so much, because at the time it was more of the motherfuckers were brave. I have a 6-shooter and he is charging me with a bow and arrow and an obsidian axe. And I died.
Yep.
I got him, but
he got me.
I'm not sure that he died because I died before. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
It wasn't, that bad of a term. With
Chief, another one. It's not, it's not overly creative, but it's not a derogatory term.
I don't think it was ever meant to be. It was like, like today we love saying boss. Remember, back in the day, a term of endearment.
Yeah.
Yes, to the boss, you'd be like, "What's up, Chief?"
Yeah.
So it was a term of endearment. I don't believe that one should change. And as someone who has a very small amount of Native American blood, I feel that I shouldn't be really
speaking
too much to say on it. But as an American, I feel, a lot of what, that Native American spirit has translated to the American, spirit. It is held in high regard. The more
at least
we get
by
away
people
from
who
it,
understand what it is.
And even, I've been saying it for a long time. When you look at, bland ass white people and they find they have a little bit of Native American in them, their whole fucking identity changes.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm one with the wolf. You look at their shirts, you look at all the shit on their wall. These motherfuckers now, they're researching all this shit. Well, what tribe was I a part of? Well, what's our history? They're going to powwows and all this shit, and that's because even though they know I have German ancestry, Polish,
they're essentially are a part of the one drop rule, but it doesn't matter.
A part of that.
Yeah.
They're American. Native American is American. So when they find that they have that connection, they're like, they
fully embrace it.
That is American noble blood to a lot of people now. It's changing. And if you look, even I think it was Ben Franklin and a couple other notable people from that time were all like, I'm noticing something odd. The white man tends to do what the savage is doing, live the way the savages are, and won't come back to civilization. I don't see too many savages
doing
it vice versa. Something's going on here. And then they talk to mountain men and they're all like, it's easier to deal with them. There's no bullshit.
No.
There's no bullshit.
It's all laid out on the table.
Yep. I'm not getting grifted. I'm not getting nothing.
And it's like, honestly, I don't, I've done the DNA test before. I don't have any Native, but I truly respect the way that they viewed the world. And they were, it was essentially, we're just a cog in the wheel of the world. We are just a small piece. The world is what rules everything. We are just here in the flow of the stream of life.
And I think they understood because they did some archaeological finds where the I want to say the Apache, I'm not sure, look it up, but they had a massive wooden fortress, and he goes, it's like a wooden, like a city, like legit gridded the whole nine. They were all like, they had it. The only problem was, just like England and France and everybody found out, we're literally murdering the fort. There's nothing around now, and instead of just upping that level and doubling down on mastering the land, they were like, let's just live with it. And we'll just spread out.
We're not going to control the land. We're going to be a part of it. We're not going to
do it that way. There's ways we could go about it, and they were more malleable, and we could see how there's ways that you can do both, and it obviously isn't going to work now, but we do have to find
a balance.
We first off, a lot less people. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's basic math, homeboy. We're losing.
There's a finite number of resources.
Man.
Dude, you look at the amount of resources we've consumed in the last 150 years compared to all of human existence prior to that. We've gone past what all of human history consumed up until 150 years ago. We have blown by that number. So you're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of years. We have blown past that in 150 years.
See, and if I was president,
and then I saw somewhere too, I don't have the reference, but I was reading it and I didn't, so this could be completely wrong. But that we now have more humans on Earth than the rest of history combined.
No. That can't be true, because I think it's like 25 billion people existed
and we're
throughout human history, and
now.
We're at 7.
Is it 7? I thought we were up to 8.
We're at 7. We're at 6 something, about to be on 7. We're on pace to be to 9. And that's
in a short period of time, too.
And this is the problem: is what
more are being born than are dying,
and the climate is changing. What's the problem when you have, again, I don't mean to rail on businessmen.
Yes,
it's just when you lean or you allow one individual field to, I don't want to say prevail, but be looked at as more important than all the others, you start creating holes, and you become blind to a lot of other things that are going on, and you're only looking at one aspect. You're playing the game, a very complex game, on easy. And honestly, again, going back to my point of still playing this old world game and not living in the now, in the future, because we are at a very, very, very dangerous point in human history. Because what people don't understand is, death on a large scale takes a long time, and you are in that gray zone for a while, and it builds until you get the straw that broke the camel's back. Now we're with more scientific study, with more intelligent people going into STEM, which is what we need. You have a lot more people, and communications being what they are, and just human interests, free will, so to speak, being able to go after what you want to go after, and having the freedom, to go after a little bit more, any hobbies or whatever, you can dabble in stuff. I am a amateur, very low amateur. Oh, pause. What the fuck? Amateur historian, and I do a little bit of
all right, hold on one sec there. So we just lost about 8 minutes of audio for the I just looked down, I'm like, hey, that's not moving. So I don't even know what we've gone over in the last 8 minutes. So those of you listening to just the audio, sorry y'all, you just missed 8 minutes of us bullshitting.
Think of it as you had a blackout. And when you black out, you're not losing memories, you just lose the ability to create memories. So your brain is just not filing any of that shit away. So it's just all like, whatever, this nigga's drunk, fuck it.
Yep.
It's the left side being all like, I told the right side, do not drink past this point. Right side said, okay. Right side is the fun side. Left side is the business side, of the brain. Right side said, got it. 3,700 drinks later.
What was I supposed to do?
Huh? How many? What was our cutoff? 2. You drank 37 beers, bro. Whoa. Missed my record by 2. Like, you motherfucker. People be doing that.
But yeah,
like
so if you're interested in what we were talking...
beers. Some shit like that. Yeah. On an 8-hour flight. He's just... You got a trip. It probably took a 6-pack to start Andre the Giant on the road. That is to feeling buzzed.
That is so, like...
That's a massive human.
Fuck everything else. That's a lot of fluid. Like, fuck the amount of alcohol you're consuming, or, just the pure carbs that are in a beer, so it's going to fill you up even more. The amount of fluid.
Yeah, he was polishing it off, man. That guy he was a cool dude, though. He was really nice. Really nice.
But yeah, so those of you listening to the audio, if you're interested in what you missed, just jump over to YouTube, check it out. I mean... It's the best we can do because I don't know what we said.
Yeah, I completely forgot. I got derailed once. I forgot what the fuck we talked about. Oh, bismuth. And fucking bismuth. You go biting this all up in the days and back in the days and people still playing the whole game. No, people are still playing, like we're fucking back in the 1800s. And if you do, you really should study history because it makes a lot of what's going on now more blatant.
If you don't study history and understand history, you're bound to repeat yourself or repeat it.
It's true.
That's not a lot. That's not just a saying. There's a reason behind it, and it is true.
It is. I hate to say it, but
it doesn't need to be your own history. It's human history.
Yeah, shit. Like dynamics really haven't changed in literally like 8,000 years.
Well,
so
and the changes to them are so marginal that
it's just technology. Yeah. That's literally all it is.
It's more additions to it. And
if anything, we're becoming more civilized. We're not as cold. We're not as dirty. Because back in the day, motherfucker, I'm next in line to become king. I get that kingship, and it's all like, that's my brother. All right, my nigga, I need you to go govern this region. All right, bro, I'm out. Oh, Raiders got him. Damn, I love you, bro, but ain't nobody usurping me, nigga. And that's how it went. And sometimes it was like the younger brother was just sitting there doing his thing. The whole family was cool, but the king was
times
shit.
Where
so everybody was like, that nigga gotta go.
Well, and there's also times where the younger brother's chunk is typically the older brother becomes king, chief, whatever, leader of the people, and the younger brother has no desire to. But that motherfucker gets that power and he's like, I don't want to risk it.
Well, and that's how it would be, because it's not necessarily the brother or any kin next in line. It's the people around the king, because the king isn't also. It's like not everybody in his court is serving him. It's highly annoying. Go look up the Plantagenets from England. You're gonna be like, holy hell, look, which is the Tudors, and you're gonna be like, holy shit, these effing people are crazy. That's why more biopics where don't exaggerate shit, don't omit shit, show what happened in history, and you're gonna be like, bruh, they made this up. It's like, yeah, they made that up. Someone did that, so that nigga said, okay, go take his baby, go take that hungry fucking dog, go take his wife, go take him and his eldest son, cut that nigga's head off in front of them, and then feed the infant to the dog. Make them watch. You know what? Everybody's gonna be there, and you're like, And the people in the court are like, "Ooh, shit." Now remember, that brutality isn't just for that family. That's for everybody to see. Do not fuck with me. Either Charles I or Henry I of England. Or Edward. Fuck. I'm getting it. No, I think it was Edward. He was a dick, and he overstepped his bounds, and the people were all like, "Bitch, you fucking committed civil war against England," which is basically treason against the monarchy. And he's like, "You can't do that. I am the monarchy." And then that's when the people were basically like, "Bitch, no, we are the monarchy." And that's when you get the Magna Carta and all that bullshit, which set the road for, are part of the road for the Constitution. The other part came from those Native American tribes who are all like, "Hey, let's be cool and work together." Which happens a lot in history. Only the Native Americans did it more peacefully, which kind of started the road, humanity's first, real big group step towards being peaceful, because a lot of the times it was military alliances. They invade you, I help, which is what that was too, but they were more willing to help each other in a more brotherly way compared to back in the day. It was straight business, and you could see it with a lot of different shit. And I didn't know this. Egypt, technically, the first Egyptian empire was probably, 13,000 years ago. But, then you had the remnants of it follow the Nile River once it started drying up from, east to west, and then went from south to north. Yeah, because it would empty it would come down out of the mountains, and then it would empty out into the Atlantic instead of emptying out. Let me do this.
Go from
so it would empty
west
out
to east.
No, because West Africa is near us. So we go east to west.
No, you're saying they would follow the Nile to where Egypt was, right?
Yeah.
So no, that would be west to east.
It would. Oh yeah. You're right. West to east. Excuse me. You're correct. You're correct. And then the river went. Then it changed, and it went from from the Mediterranean south down into Africa. But if you're there, it's weird because when you look at Egypt, the map kind of flips, and then when you're on Rome, it's in Greece.
Yeah.
Everything's southern, and it's weird. And the water flows because of, height and everything. It flows into the Mediterranean, which it's just weird when they talk about it because you're used to it being
the other way,
kind of flipped.
Flowing from the large body of water into as opposed to reverse.
And just the way they were explaining it was all like, yeah, that is weird. When they're explaining ancient Egypt and how it broke down when you're moving from Egypt into Nubia and then into Jesus Christ, the other fucking people, I forget their goddamn names, but those people. And so a lot of them would just, when they conquered Egypt, they were like, let's not change anything, let's just keep everything the same. They kept their culture, everything, and then they just grew. So the three different dynasties technically are three different kingdoms or three different peoples that just kept the identity of the Egyptians. And that's kind of the way it was with Babylon and Mesopotamia and Assyria. The first great empire, Assyria, because they were all under, everybody that was around them was kind of under their umbrella. Yeah. Until, homeboys from the Asian steppe came down, and then they were all like, this our shit now. And I think this is where I want more archaeology to be done, because they're finding pyramids in the Amazon. They're finding pyramids. They've been found pyramids in China, but you have these punk ass communists who are like, nah. And then it's like, all right. And then they'll be like, hey, Chin, why don't you do the research? Here goes all my shit. And then he's all like, okay, done. And then he turns to the government and they're like, no. And he goes, no, but I'm Chinese. Yeah, I know. No, but I'm nigga, look at my motherfucking passport. I'm born here. No, you can't do it. I'm communist. So am I. Yeah, you can't do it. I said, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then they'll go in and kill a whole village, and it's like, what the fuck?
Dude, that government is...
Yeah, they legit... Homeboy went, and he said, well, that's the road to get to my village. What's going on? They're like, oh, there's no village there. Nigga, there's been a village there for 1,500 years. There's a village there. Nah, ain't no village there. And then you can't go there. Then when they go there, there's like, they were right. There's no village here. Where the fuck are all my people?
Yep.
You know, and it's all like, I don't know what to tell you. Communism.
And when you get to the, the more rural parts of China, there's not a lot of technology.
No.
Still to this day.
Dude, they got to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
It legit in spray painting.
Day,
the government ain't helping you.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that... And we could have...
And they're literally, 2022, there's a lot of people still living in, huts.
There are 36 million Chinese men that will never have a wife. Some people are saying they'll never have a girlfriend just because the way the numbers played out. Remember how they said no girls, all boys?
Well, yeah, there was that. There was a period of time where the families were allowed one child because they were trying to population
and they'd
control.
murder the girls.
Yeah.
If she was pregnant, and they
wanted a boy. Everyone wanted a boy to carry on the name to whatever reason.
By law, it was only males, and you only do that for one reason: to fight.
Yeah,
to have fodder. And
but it's like you realize if you have an entire generation of just males, your civilization will crumble.
Well, it was for only supposed to be for a limited time, but then they just forgot about that, and it went on a little too goddamn long. And you had a lot of Chinese people that were like, no. First off, that's my body. Two, this is my kid. You're not getting rid of my kid. And think of all the poor Chinese motherfuckers that died. All the poor babies that died.
Yeah, because they wouldn't necessarily abort it. They would wait till that child was born and see it's a female. And it
that is... Oh, that's
as a parent... I don't know what... if that were to happen to me...
I'd die.
I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah.
Honestly,
spot. They'd have to kill me. I'd lose it. You're tripping.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the problem is they keep them all unarmed.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I do appreciate about our country, and I do understand a big problem with the mass shootings is a lot of people, there's literally no hope. And a big problem is I know I harp on them all the time, but the Republican Party and their rhetoric about, white men being replaced. No one's being replaced. No one is being replaced.
The only way that you're quote unquote being replaced is because you're interbreeding.
It's the missus.
Important folk. Whoa. Damn, dude.
Hi-oh.
But it's more, the traditional white individual, whether it's male or female, have been mating with people that aren't of the same ilk, which is good for humanity, which is good for the country. But for that idea of, you're erased, no one's getting erased though, dude. No one. And then to get upset about things like critical race theory, things like that. One of the things I love about that is the fact that so many people that are offended by critical race theory or upset by it or feel that it should not be taught in our schools don't actually understand what it is, and will tell you that they don't understand what it is.
Well, my thing is why the fuck do you feel white guilt about something you didn't do? That's on you.
And then you keep saying...
No one's trying to make you feel
And then you keep saying,
guilt.
I never owned any slaves, or I never... Exactly. Exactly.
So why are you getting mad about people teaching you the history of this motherfucking
And for some of these people that are getting upset about it, dude, your families weren't even in this country when slavery was a thing.
Not to mention, you really,
Are we good on time?
You really, huh?
Are we good on time?
No, she's on her way.
Okay.
But we're gonna be going up to his mom's for Thanksgiving, and we're
gonna do like an early Thanksgiving. We're gonna do it next week, and we'll be able to do a way longer one. Yeah. We could even do 2. We could do Monday and Tuesday if you end up staying up.
Which we probably will.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that later.
But yeah, that's us hashing shit out on fucking record, which it doesn't need to be done.
So you guys know, hey, you gotta fucking know.
But it really is. It's stupid as hell that people who keep harking on the fact that they weren't a part of what this is, or what happened in history, are the ones that don't want it taught. Like, dude, no one said you were. And maybe if we taught things properly, there wouldn't. And as we've said numerous times, come to the realization that as individuals, we have far less different between us, far fewer differences than we realize, or most of us realize, and significantly fewer differences between people of different ethnic backgrounds, different, whatever.
Yeah. You tend to not get along with your neighbor. Like, mixes, when it comes to cultures mix and match. You wouldn't think, like when they were releasing Coco, Pixar, they didn't think that it would do well in China because of the skeletons. You're not allowed to show anything with skeletons, or there's certain weird rules with the communists.
Movie.
Yeah, when they showed it to them, they were like, yeah, it's allowed. Skeletons are all through that fucking movie, but they understand culture. That and Chinamen and Mexicans love to fucking gamble, and let me tell you, as someone who grew up in San Francisco, when Army Street was Army Street, which is now Cesar Chavez Avenue, you would go and you would see,
I still call it
Chinamen.
Army.
Yeah, you'd see Chinamen.
And it's no disrespect to fucking Cesar Chavez. I still call it
it's
Army
Street. That's
like
what
that's
I
what I grew up as.
Yeah,
and
Army
that's what
Street
it is.
projects, the whole nine. All that was Army Street. Right there in front of Benjamin Moore, the old paint shop. They used to be right there, and the Chinese immigrants and the Mexican immigrants,
which is now just
and
an
the
apartment building in a Walgreens.
Yep. And they'd gamble,
like,
boom, and you'd see them they'd be gambling all of the time, and they could not converse 2 words to each other, but
they understood the game.
If I stood coup gambling, playing dice or playing quarters, I don't need to worry about nothing because he's on the ups, I'm on the ups, and that's literally how some of them ate. And some people you'd see, you drive by. I used to drive by it all the time. You would see, homeboy, either Asian or Latin, didn't have food. Some of the other ones, oh, here you go, here you go. No, because when you're poor, you ain't gonna be like, nah, it's cool. I'm cool off of that cherry. And shut the fuck up and eat. And they'd eat it, and they'd be like, oh, and they'd be talking. So, the ties that bind us to the old world really need to die, and they are slowly. But motherfuckers really need to come up off it, especially if you're tied to fucking critical race theory. Do your research on the Civil War. Confederates were deserting at an alarming rate, just like the Union was. The only problem was the Union they were like, they're homesick. Let them run home, talk to their mom, fuck their girl real quick, and in 6 months to a year, he'll be back. And guess what? 6 to 9 months later, homeboy came back, and he was like, sorry, I was gone. Don't do it again. And then he was like, okay, hey, we're cutting your whiskey allotment. Real shit. We used to get an allotment of whiskey. They changed that. And,
that's also at a time when
that was
drinking water
the
wasn't
old world.
Yeah.
That was a part of your ration, was that. And then that shit started getting cut because they were like, we can't have, we're doing complex shit and complex maneuvers, because starting in the Civil War, you had guns that fired a lot lot faster, and you're going from...
Then like an old blunderbuss, you had, muskets, and then towards the end you had repeaters.
You had the Kentucky rifle, which made its debut in the Revolutionary War, and you're talking about 100 plus years later, and you got fucking shit flying at a pretty
you had breech loading
clip.
Rifles that were single shot, but it was a cartridge. It wasn't a fucking ball and powder.
Which, so if you're going to load a musket, you have to hold it. You take from your pouch.
You take some powder.
The powder. You rip it open. Now, they used to make it cloth, but then we started being able to make paper, so you were able to tear it off, keep a piece, pour it in, take that piece from your mouth, put it on the muzzle, then you put the ball on,
and then you had to take your
car ramrod, and you ram it down the breech, and
then you had to still put primer.
Yeah, you had to save a little bit so you could put a little bit on the dish, and then you pull the hammer all the way back, and then you pull out, and then by old standards, you would have the flint, which would be the spark, and then you had the old rope. Then they were able to go to a percussion cap, so you took that little cap out and you put it on the nipple, and then you boom, and then that would cause the action.
And the early ones weren't rifled.
Faster. No, they were all smoothbore. And then you went to the breech loading, which was a lot easier, or trap door. Yeah. So you open it, boom, and
which is essentially breech loading. It's just
was the Springfield. Actually, that came a little bit later. I think it was 1868 or some shit like that. But it was.
And you would be able to, and that went from that long process, which took upwards of
a minute. In a minute, you could fire up to 3 rounds.
And those are for people who have been doing it and have it down. If you're closer to an amateur, if you're a younger soldier who didn't grow up hunting necessarily, you're lucky to get 2 off in a minute. So you go from that to the trap door, which pops open, you put a cartridge in, and you close it, and you're ready to go.
And then the Union got repeating rifles,
which then allowed you to put in,
which I could just
6 to 8 rounds, and then you just lever action, boom, 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 boom. I mean, that is the equivalent of a machine gun today.
Oh, it was badass. But we're gonna pick up on this later.
Yeah, this is going to be one of our shorter episodes. We kind of bullshitted a little bit before we started recording, and things got a little
yeah, it'd be like that. My wife's outside and she's probably like, where the fuck is this asshole? You know what? I'm gonna slap him in his sleep. I love saying that to my clients, and they're all like half asleep, and they're like, what? I'm just joking. Some people laugh. They're like, what did this nigga just say to me? Be hilarious. But I'll speak to you guys later. Cuckoo, ka-choo.
We'll have a couple longer episodes next week. Later, hit that subscribe, like, comment down below.
Fire down below. Steven Seagal, you piece of shit.
That was an interesting movie, though.
I like that movie. I really do. I like that.
Who's the fucking CEO of the fucking oil company?
It was,
was it... No, was it...
It's an old country star.
Oh, it was...
Chris Christopherson.
Was it Chris Christopherson?
Yep. No, he's a G. Yep, it was.
I thought he was... No, he wasn't his buddy, was he?
Nope.
That's right, it was Chris Christopherson.
I'll be remembering I watched that movie a lot because I had a little crush on that redhead.
I think I had that on VHS and watched the shit out of it. Oh, you're right. It was Chris Christopherson. And then Stephen Lang was the other bad guy.
Yeah. I'll be knowing, nigga. All right, I gotta get going.
All right.
Before I really get
We'll hit you next week, y'all.